a couple of questions have started to come in regarding hatching and how we would hatch something similar to this. So if we type hatch, by default I think it comes up as pick internal point as your option. So on the bottom you can see that we have pick internal point or select objects. So if we pick internal point, you'll see that we can either select internally there, we can select internally here, and it will actually recognize that island. Or if we do a hatch and then we do select object, so if we select just one object, it's going to ignore that island that's in the middle. If we select multiple objects, so if we click once and then drag over that, it will automatically detect that island in the middle. So let's click enter and then go into our hatch settings. So here we can actually change the angle of this, so we can change the angle of what those lines are doing. We can change the scale of what this is doing. We can change the pattern up here, let's say something like that. And we can go ahead and change the transparency of what this hatch is doing, so you can see it's much lighter now. If we go into our options, we can look at outer island detection. So outer, normal, and ignore. So if we go to ignore, it's going to ignore the fact that we have a curve on the inside. I usually leave this by default on normal, and then it'll look something like that. So let's say we have multiple objects that we're trying to hatch here. So let's go into our hatch. We're going to go ahead and select all three of these objects, and you can see right now I actually have it by default that these are going to be selected separately. So if we go into hatch and we go into our options, we have an option here for create separate hatches. So if we don't have that selected, that's going to make us select these as a group. So if you have this happen and you want to move only one of those, you can always go in here and do select separate hatches, and that will separate them out into individual pieces.